So have you ever felt like you're stuck in your life and you want to make a change, but you don't know how, or you don't know if it's a good idea to do it or not? Today we're going to talk about a big change. What if you were to make a career change at age 50? So we're going to talk about how to make a career change, and it could be at whatever age that you're at. For me, my career change came at age 46, and the principles for making a change, they apply regardless of your age. Doesn't matter if you're 60, 70, you can still make a change if you want to at any point in your life. So how to make that change? We have another video that you can look at that talks about how to make significant changes in our life and what's required. And we talked about a change equation in order to make that change occur. And that change equation is our willingness to accept or seek new knowledge, and then our willingness to actually change. And you rate yourself from 1 to 10 on each of those areas. What we learned from that video is that in order to make any change, we have to be at 100%, which means we have to be willing to seek out the knowledge and willing to learn at a 10, and we need to be desirous and willing to change at a 10, which is 100%. And in order for change to occur, we have to be all in. We have to be at 100%. If you are considering making a significant change in your life, like a career change, you need to know that you have to be 100% committed. You have to be all in. The reason is you're going to run into obstacles, you're going to run into fear, and if you are not 100% committed, it will be easy for you to take your eye off the goal of that career change, begin to focus more on the obstacles and the reasons of why not to change. You may have the tendency to want to stay in your comfort zone rather than to get out of that. And you may find all of the evidence of why you shouldn't make the change. So first of all, if you are considering making a change in career, make sure that you're all in. Oftentimes when we make a significant change like a career change, at least what I experienced is I had to be all in. So there was no going back. Then once you make that decision, the next step is to get real clear on what it is that you want and why you want it, why you're doing it. And that has to be the focus of your goal. Then you need to write out a statement of exactly what it is that you're wanting to accomplish and when you're wanting to accomplish it by. And then each day start doing something that will move you closer towards that goal. What I experienced as I made this career change when I left a job of working for the government, working for the state. I had been there for 19 years. I had just about 10 years to go where I would have my 30 years in and I could retire. And my coworkers, many of them, when I told them what I was doing, they thought I was crazy. You know, why would you leave a secure, stable job to go out on your own and to do this? And in my mind at the time, I had made a shift. You know, I realized that there was no security in anything, that secure job, you know, with the state, it could go away. There was no guarantee that the retirement would be there. What there was a guarantee of was there was a limit on how much money I could make. There was a limit of about what my retirement would look like. And as I really considered that, I was like, actually, this is more scary than if I go out and take control and create something of my own. And so I had to get to the place where I wanted this more than I wanted the security of this, and I believed in my ability to create this. So part of that was knowing that there was no failure, there was no option to fail, that I was going to do whatever it took to succeed. And what I learned as I went through this process is that throughout my life, I had actually been a quitter with many things. I never considered myself a quitter, but as I look back, there were a lot of things in my life that I had made a decision to do, and I actually never did them. And that's because as obstacles came up, I found excuses or reasons why I wasn't supposed to do what I had set out to do. And so I gave up, but I never saw that as quitting. In this case, there was no quitting because I quit my job. I burned the boat. We mortgaged our house, and we did this right at the peak of the housing bubble in 2008. So shortly after we did that, and the market and the housing market and everything crashed, we had no going back. It was either we were going to succeed in this or we were going to fail. But I knew what we wanted to accomplish, and as long as I stayed focused on that goal, all I felt was excitement and confidence. But it would take hardly anything for that focus to shift. For example, I remember one morning waking up, I had a clock radio that was the alarm, and I woke up to the news on the radio, and they were talking about a drop in the stock market. And I remember immediately going into that scarcity or fear mindset of thinking, oh man, if the stock market crashes, then families aren't going to have the money that they would use, because we were starting a residential treatment center for teen girls, and most of that was funded through 401ks, through oftentimes second mortgages on homes. And I was like, man, maybe we're starting this business at the wrong time. Maybe I made a mistake. And as long as I was focused on what could go wrong, I would become consumed by fear. And that would just restrict me, and it would actually keep me from moving forward. But if I could shift that focus to what we wanted to accomplish and what the goal was, the excitement would come back and the belief would come back. And then the other thing that is critical is doing one thing every day. As long as I would do something every single day, then I would continue to move forward. And when I would come up against roadblocks or difficulties or challenges, and so this may be in, whatever it is that you experience as you're making that change, there will be times when it looks like you're not going to be able to accomplish the change. But what I know is if you do not quit, if you persist and continue to move forward, you hang on to that dream, you continue to take action steps, doors will open. Doors that were not there will open, and then another door will open, and then another door will open, and eventually your dream will come true. In our experience, we set the goal to do this in September of 2007. Again, we had never started our own business. I didn't know how we were going to do this. I just knew what we were going to do. 8 months from starting with just the idea, we had our business opened and operating. And the interesting thing is, it didn't happen at all. So even though I didn't know how it was going to happen, I still had ideas of the way I thought that it would happen. But as it turned out, it wasn't that way at all. But doors opened, things happened, and one thing led to another, that eventually our dream came true. So I know that works. I've tested it. I've tried it. So don't let fear govern you. If there's something that you want to change in your life, something that you're passionate about, if you're wanting to live your soul purpose because you're unhappy where you're at, you don't need to stay stuck in that place. You can create the kind of life that you want. You can create the career that you want. You just got to want it bad enough and be willing to go out and do the work. Thanks for joining us again today. Hopefully you found this information helpful to you to move forward in your life and accomplish the changes that you want to make. Go ahead and subscribe to our channel and visit us again.